The grand lecture hall of the Galactic University was filled with some of the greatest minds in the known universe. Scholars, scientists, and linguists from across the stars had gathered for a historic event. Professor Xilvar, an eight-eyed, blue-skinned Selvian, stood at the center of the vast, floating stage. Behind him, a holographic display shimmered with strange symbols, curved lines, dots, and intricate patterns. These, Silvar declared, his voice echoing, are fragments of an ancient human language discovered on a derelict vessel drifting near a dying star. A murmur spread through the crowd. Humans were a relatively new species in the galactic community. They were physically unremarkable compared to the towering Gorthons or the multi-limbed Siltheri. Their technology was decent but not groundbreaking, and yet something about them always seemed unusual. Professor Xilvar tapped the air, and a sentence in the mysterious language appeared on the holographic screen. This language, he continued, predates human space travel. By all accounts, it should be primitive. And yet, after years of study, we, some of the most advanced scholars in the galaxy, are no closer to understanding its full complexity. The murmurs turned into stunned silence. A deep red Seraphian professor raised a tentacle. But surely it cannot be more advanced than the universal language of the Federation. Professor Xilvar sighed. That's what we assumed, until we started deciphering it. A second tap. The alien audience gasped as the words on the screen shifted, morphed, and rearranged themselves into different structures, each new form changing the meaning slightly. This language, it doesn't work like any other known system. It's not static. It evolves in real time, adapting to context, tone, and even the speaker's intent. It can compress vast amounts of data into a single sentence. A single phrase can have multiple valid interpretations depending on the knowledge and experience of the listener. A green-furred larvae professor twitched its ears in disbelief. That's impossible. No known species has ever developed a language that transcends linear thought. Xilvar interrupted. I know. And yet, here it is. He tapped again, and a translated excerpt of the human text appeared. Time bends not for those who chase it, but for those who understand its dance. The words shimmered, and a secondary translation emerged. To see beyond the present, one must embrace the past, and the future is one. And then a third. A traveler does not move through time. Time moves through the traveler. The scholars gawped. A single sentence, holding multiple profound meanings, each unfolding like a living organism. A Clathan philosopher, renowned for its four-dimensional perception, leaned forward. This is not just a language, it's a tool for higher thought, a way to encode ideas beyond the confines of conventional speech. Professor Xilvar nodded. Precisely. It suggests that ancient humans, long before they ventured into space, had already developed a means to convey abstract, multi-layered ideas in a way we can barely comprehend. A holographic model of the human brain appeared next to the text. Human neurology is unique. Their brains do not merely process language. They shape it, mold it, redefine it on the fly. The complexity of this system suggests their ancestors weren't just communicating. They were thinking in ways we cannot yet grasp. The hall was silent. A young Drakari scholar hesitated before speaking. Are you saying ancient humans were more advanced than us? Silvar took a deep breath. In ways that matter, perhaps they were. A reptilian professor scoffed. Then why do they not rule the stars? A new voice, smooth and confident, cut through the tension. Perhaps they do. Heads turned as a human stepped forward. Dr. Evelyn Carter, one of Earth's top sinolinguists, had been standing at the back of the hall. She smiled, tapping the ancient text on the hologram. You see, she continued, this is just one of our old languages. We have thousands, each one different, each one capable of encoding unique ideas. Some of our ancient tongues had words with meanings so complex they require entire paragraphs to explain in your languages. The gathered scholars stared at her in shock. She folded her arms. And you want to know the funniest part? She grinned. We've barely scratched the surface of our own linguistic history. There are languages we've lost, scripts we can't even read anymore. Some might be even more advanced than this one. Silver looked at her, fascinated. Then tell me, Dr. Carter, How did your species lose such knowledge? Evelyn's smile faded slightly. Time, war, ignorance. Civilization moves forward, but it also forgets. Some knowledge is lost, waiting to be rediscovered. The Clathan philosopher exhaled slowly. And now you're rediscovering it. Yes, she looked at the ancient script, and who knows what we might find next. A quiet hush fell over the hall. For the first time, the gathered scholars realized something unsettling, something they had never considered before. The humans were young, yes, but they were not new to this game. They had been thinking, writing, and coding knowledge in ways the galaxy had never seen. And if this was just a fragment of what they had forgotten, what else were they capable of?